Hi everyone, this is Jackie Riggs. So I'm going to be going through my Pearltree's presentation over copyright with you. Just real quick to go through each category. I'm going to start with literary works. And I've got a couple of different resources here that give a description of basically what literary works covers and what the copyright is like for it. First one we've got is a link to uslegal.com. And it's just an article to give more information on what copyright literally means, the things that it can cover, and just really kind of gives pretty basic explanation of what it is. The next link is to Copyright Gov, which I link to in every single collection on here because it gives such good information on each different category. So like if you look on here, it defines like the Copyright Act, defines literary work so you know exactly what it is, and gives you the works that are commonly registered in this category. And some of the stuff I didn't even think about, like board games, the text in board games. When I think literary works, of course I think books, and autobiographies and things like that. But I did not think about board game text or interviews or tests and things like that. So I like that they have a chart with examples to give you a better idea. And then another link coming from Copyright Gov. And this is another circular that they provide because they do kind of like circular brochures for each type of copyright. So I made sure to link them on every single category. So that's for literary works. For songs and music, we have a lot of the same things. Let me see if this is going to work. I don't know why this one's not working yet, but it's a link to the Copyright Gov site for specifically songs and music. I also linked to this website, which is Digital Music News, because it kind of gave you some basic points about like what copyright law protects, how long it lasts, because we always hear about with songs, like after an artist dies, like Michael Jackson and things like that, like the copyright goes away on their music. So it's kind of like rumors that we always hear. So this kind of helps dispel the rumors and really helps you understand like what it is when copyright is talking about music. How to enforce your rights. And I like this one too, how to record and perform cover songs, because you always see that on YouTube. And maybe thinking about like karaoke, or if you're a music teacher, what kind of copyright do you need if you want to perform a song at school, things like that. So it's a good resource. And then I found a 3-part series dealing specifically with music copyright on YouTube. And so I linked each part, but it starts off just with an overview, and then it goes into musical compositions, and then sound recording, which I know there's a different category for sound recording, but I went ahead and put it on this one since it was part of the 3-part series. So then we have theatrical works. So the first, I also found a video on YouTube concerning like neighborhood theater copyright licenses. We have a community theater here where I live called the Center, and so they have to deal a lot with this, with getting the copyrights for certain productions that they want to put on. And then I have a article from the Chicago Kent Law Review dealing more with copyright law concerning the theater. This is a pretty basic website, which it looks pretty old. But I'm assuming this may have been made for educational purposes since it's got an EDU website. But I went ahead and included it because it deals with copyright law for theater directors and actors. Basically anybody who's concerned with the theater, whether it's high school or college directors, community, artistic directors, anything like that. But it has a lot of information. It's got information on what can be copyrighted, how long it lasts, public domain, trying to see if a play that you want has fallen into public domain. It's got copyright instructions on how to copyright your own play. So I thought this was really good because it has so many good links and information. And then again, I've got my copyright.gov link for performing arts. And I love all the chart information that it gives and examples so that you can kind of have a better idea of what is considered performing arts. So that's that. Oh, and I had this too. Oh no, that's the one I started with, sorry. So that was theatrical works. And then I have images and sculpture. I'll start here. I found a video that talks about how this is really, I guess, more for if you're creating content and you want to legally use images online and avoid getting in trouble with copyright laws. I thought this was good for those people who want to create and use images. So it gives them a better idea of how to follow the law. This was interesting to me with copyright and taking pictures of sculptures, which I never considered. But it kind of gives you that scenario, you know, you're a sculptor and you show your work at a coffee shop, get reviews, and then you see a photograph of your sculpture. What is the copyright and what is the law for that? So I thought that was pretty interesting because I had never thought about that. And then, again, we have the circular from copyright.gov concerning pictorial, graphic, sculptural works for copyright. This one is more concerning art, copyright from artsy.net. But, you know, it covers sculptures and things like that too. I did find a video on YouTube for concerning artists and the work that they create and how it can be copyrighted and getting it registered. And then I included an article specific to photography because I own my own photography business on the side, and so I actually do have to deal with photography copyright laws. The Law Tog is a lawyer who works specifically with photographers and creates contracts and, you know, does education and community involvement. But this is honestly a website that I use with my business because if I ever have questions, legal questions concerning photography or for copyright, I go here. And it's a wonderful resource. With photography, a lot of people think that, you know, if it's online, you lose any rights to it. And of course, that's not true. Because the minute that I click the shutter on the camera, that picture is mine. It belongs to me, whether a client hired me to create it or not, or it's just me creating it for fun. It's still my artwork, even if it's just a picture. It's still considered my artwork. So I included this because photography copyright tends to come up a lot just with me. So I thought it would be a good resource to include here. Next, we have motion pictures. And again, here's our copyright.gov website to give you more information on how to register. And here's the circular as well, the PDF version with all the information. I also linked to the Motion Picture Licensing Corporation, since this is like the corporation that Hollywood uses. So I went ahead and linked here because I thought it'd be a good resource. And then I thought this was interesting, and whereas, you know, if you want to create an indie film, how do you copyright it? So I found a YouTube video that kind of gives you some basic instructions to help you along. So I thought it was neat for those people who maybe want to create their own movie. Next, we have sound recordings, and this tripped me up because when I read sound recordings, I thought music, and I had to realize it's not. So a sound recording copyright, it's separate from like songs and music. A sound copyright can be literally sounds spoken, can be other sounds, can be recorded musical sounds. It's different than a CD or a record or a tape. It has to be an original work, and it has to show like minimal amount of creativity. So, and it's, again, just like with photography, you have the copyright to your sound recording as soon as you create it. You don't have to register it to get that copyright. And I think with photographers, a lot of times we run into that because a lot of people think, oh, I have to get every single photograph registered, and no, you don't. As soon as you make it, it's yours, and that copyright exists. Here's a article that I found for copyright registration for sound recordings, and another YouTube video. And I included this because, like I said, when I first read this, I thought sound recordings, oh, music, and it's different. So I liked that there was a video out there that talked about the difference between a sound recording copyright and something concerning like a musical composition, because they're two different things. So that is our sound recordings. Next, we have our architectural works. And I never even realized this was a copyright issue. I just never thought to think that architecture could be copyrighted. This is linked directly to the Copyright Gov, which I went ahead and linked this, but there's not a lot of information on this website. It's just very, very basic. But I included the PDF that they always have too. So this one has a lot more information that you could scroll through and read. I linked to the AIA.org website, which is an architecture website, and this one has a lot of information on like when Congress passed the Architecture Copyright Protection Act, talks about the elements that impact copyright claims, that you can't copyright an idea, that you can only original expressions of that idea, things like that. And so I thought this was a good website to link. And then this one was kind of more of a basic bullet point type deal where it's 10 things you need to know about architectural copyrights. So really, if you're just getting into this and just now reading, this is probably where a good place to start. Oh, and then I found a YouTube video. So this one covers copyrights for design professionals, including architects and other types of designers. So I included this. Finally, we have Creative Commons. And what Creative Commons is it's a website, a movement, an organization that really promotes putting your whatever it is that you have created, putting it out there onto the internet for people to use without having to go through hoops, without having to pay a whole bunch of crazy money. It's just kind of like sharing, basically. And so I linked to the Getting Started part of the CreativeCommonsUSA.org website. It talks about what is copyright, what's open licenses, what does Creative Commons USA do. I have an image directly from the Creative Commons website that talks about their different types of programs, what they do, their mission, their vision. And again, here's a link to their website that gives more information about what they do, how they're affiliated globally. And then for the visual learners, I found a YouTube video that goes through what Creative Commons is. And so that is my Pearltree's copyright curation project. So hopefully this helps you navigate through it.